Question about it. All right, well, Red Ink Week keeps flowing on Fox Business as we turn the spotlight on government employee wages. Our next guest says that by law, federal workers cannot have their wages frozen solid. We're joined now by Vincent Vernuccio, Labor Policy Counsel for the Competitive Enterprise Institute. All right, Vincent, what do we mean by that? We know that the president has said, look, I'm going to freeze all federal wages, but in many respects, you can't really do that, can you?
Well, that's right. It was a great lip service by President Obama. You know, big headlines. I want to freeze federal wages. Well, I tell you, you know what he didn't tell you? That by law, they're still required to give what's known as step and grade increases. And those step and grade increases that he is not freezing, the chairman of the Government Oversight Committee, Darrell Issa, said that could cost taxpayers over $1 billion in the next year. Big savings and pay freeze, right?
Right. So the GOP, as we know, is pushing for a total federal government worker pay freeze. What's the likelihood that would happen? And would a total pay freeze make a meaningful difference in reducing spending?
Well, I mean, Darrell Issa said it right there, that it would cut by $1 billion. So I think it would make some sort of increase in helping decrease our debt. Now, does it have a chance of passing? You know, I'm not sure. Obviously, in the House, it has probably a better chance of passing than in the Democratic-controlled Senate, and we'll see if President Obama weighs in. But the Democrats and President Obama are so wrapped around the union's finger on these issues that I really don't know what the likelihood of these substantial savings for the taxpayers really would amount to.
You know, Vincent, some of these step promotions that we talk about, a couple of things strike me about it. Number one, it's mandated by law. So you would have to go in and change the law to prevent these employees from being able to be eligible and from receiving these step promotions. And the second thing is they're really granted to employees by performing their jobs, quote unquote, adequately. Yeah. That kills me that you get a promotion for doing your job adequately. I'm going to just start doing my job adequately.
Do you know what adequately means in the federal government? Adequately means basically you don't show up to work naked. I mean, almost everybody across the board is adequate at their job in the federal government.
All right, so do you have any ideas? What would a better solution be in managing federal workers, either the number of federal workers out there, their pay? Is there a compromise, Vincent, that you think might, again, make a meaningful difference in our budget deficit problem here?
Well, James Shirk of the Heritage Institute says that if federal pay and benefits were brought to the market sector rates, it could save, and I believe he said somewhere in the neighborhood of $47 billion. So, you know, putting federal pay and benefits on parity with the market could yield substantial dividends for the taxpayers going forward and help decrease our deficit.
All right. Thank you, Vincent. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks
Vincent Vernuccio.